Welcome, everyone. Today, we'll be going over a fundamental aspect of building apps on the FairyRing, Fairblock's own native blockchain, which is currently in testnet. Essentially, what we'll be covering is the preparation, encryption, submission, and decryption and monitoring of a simple transaction. My name is Hash Titan. Y'all can call me Hash. I'm a DevRel contributing to the ecosystem. And with that, let's get into it. So here you'll see the FairyRing repo, which resides under the Fairblock GitHub organization. It's the repo we're going to be working with for this quick run through. Essentially, you're going to be cloning it onto your local machine. Make sure that you switch to the appropriate branch, so feat-option for this tutorial. And then within it, what we're going to be doing is essentially spinning up a devnet for the FairyRing chain on your local machine. So that'll give you 5 FairyRing testnet wallets with Fairy token to test with. And from there, we're going to be running a shell script or a bash script, bash message, bank message with memo and decryption, which essentially, if you go into it, it actually showcases the preparation, encryption, submission, and monitoring and decryption of a transaction, or what we're calling a bank memo or bank message. And essentially, a bank message consists of the amount of token that you're going to be sending. So in this case, it's the Fairy test token, and the memo, if you so choose, that will be encrypted alongside with everything else of the transaction. So for today, we're just simply going to be running these two commands and showcasing that it actually works and the results a little bit. And we highly recommend that after you watch this video, that you actually go through this README yourself and check out the details because it highlights what's actually happening more step by step. And furthermore, there's also CLI commands that are used within that actual bash script that you can use to interact with the FairyRing in prepping your own transactions and sending it, etc., sending it, encrypting it, decrypting it, etc. And then another thing I wanted to note alongside this actual repo is that we have gone ahead and actually created a thread to summarize this tutorial, just help make it more digestible. So you can check it out. We'll have the link within the docs. But basically what I wanted to say is that front-end devs, you'll use the tslib repo that's residing inside of the Fairblock GitHub org to use the CLI commands. It's the best way to interact with the FairyRing network. And then for backend, you'll import FairyRing directly. And for smart contract developers that want to build applications within the FairyRing network, a tutorial is coming soon where we'll show examples for doing so. And another thing I wanted to note is that over here, we can have highlighted that we're going to be using the blockchain height to use as when to actually decrypt the respective bank message. So it's used for encryption and decryption. And FairyRing by default uses the block height for the FairyRing block height for like encryption and decryption. But in general, there is like with specific setup, you can actually use anything for the general conditions, what we refer to it as. So essentially, you could use things, for example, like asset price or lending market interest rates or any random thing in a video game, for example, for actually encrypting and decrypting a transaction. So with that, you can actually see the power of a simple encryption and decryption of a transaction if you use specific conditions for it. And finally, I wanted to note as well that apps that are developing within FairyRing also benefit from a plethora of like its different perks and performance features. One being the contract callback aspect, which essentially allows for a application to carry out a decryption and automatically actually do a contract call upon that decryption with the actual like transaction decrypted. Cool. So with all that, let's jump into the code and run these two commands to see everything working. So here you can see the code cloned onto my local machine. I've gone ahead and already ran make devnet up to spin up the FairyRing network on my machine and get access to these testnet wallets. you can see here in my terminal. Now, all I have to do is simply run this bash script, and we'll specify the respective FairyRing wallet address. So let's send it to this one. We'll send 100 UFairy. Good. And we'll send it from wallet number 1. Cool. And the message will be howdy. For the block height, let's specify 195. So the blocks go very quickly within FairyRing, so we shouldn't be waiting too long. And as we wait, it should be noted that yeah, the actual script is here, and as mentioned before, it uses the basic like bash commands to interact with FairyRing. So highly recommend you check that out as you prep your own messages. Cool. And oh, look, so now we can see the transaction results. And here you can actually see the decrypted result. So howdy was our memo, so we know it worked. And that's pretty much it. So as mentioned before, this is basically a quick run through to show the fundamental aspect of encrypting and submitting and decrypting a transaction, and based off of like the condition of block height on FairyRing. And with that, you can see a lot of different power involved with it to build new types of applications in blockchain. And we highly recommend you to check out the README, join our Discord, follow us on X, and definitely keep your eyes peeled for other developments within our ecosystem. We're excited to have you along for the ride.